Okay, so in today's visit, we're going to talk about your dietary program. And for you, we've chosen what's called a ketogenic diet. And the way that we're going to give you instructions on that is going to be through a program called Transformations 360. Now, I want to explain this a little bit to you. I'm not a fan of programs. I'm not a fan of dietary programs. I am on a board of doctors. There are about 350 to 400 of us that practice this kind of treatment that we use here in our office. So what happens on this board is we bounce ideas off of each other. When we get complicated patients, we can go in and consult with each other. And a lot of times there are new therapies that come through and go onto the board, and I will watch those therapies because most of them come on, people will start implementing them, and the results aren't too great, or they're not worth the expense, or the patient benefit is not worth what has to go into it, so they'll fall off the board. This program has been on the board for over 3 to 5 years. It was on there back when I first found these guys and first started working with them, and it's been there for a long time. The results are phenomenal with this program. I watched it, made sure it was good, brought it into my practice, used it myself, and my wife started eating this way with great results. Then I started using it on a select few patients and had great results with that as well. So this Transformation 360 program is a very, very good program that we like to use because it explains things so well. Okay, so with that being said, what is a ketogenic diet? Basically, again, before I go into this program, when you're reading the T360, it's geared towards weight loss. Now, weight loss is one effect of what we're going to be doing, but it's not the main reason. So keep that in mind, that as you're reading through this and you're going through the weight loss aspect of it, I'm going to give you the benefits of why we're doing this in this video. Okay, so what is a ketogenic diet? Well, you have what's called macronutrients. Those are your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. And your body has certain needs for each of these. So for protein, this is for muscle, for all kinds of DNA synthesis, a lot of different things like that. Carbohydrates, this is for energy and fuel. It's what the brain uses carbohydrates. Your body needs carbohydrates. And then fats, these are also used for myelin sheath development, for different functions in the body. Fats are very critical. Now, what most people will end up eating, if let's say that we need this much protein, this much carbohydrate, and this much fat, what most people will end up doing is eating this much carbohydrate, way too much, too little protein, and usually too little fat, because we're told that fats are unhealthy. So when you eat in this way, what happens is your muscle, because you're not eating enough protein, your muscle starts to diminish. So now you get decreased muscle, you get basically muscle atrophy. When you're eating excess carbohydrates and they're more than what your body needs, then the carbohydrates are stored as fat. So what that ends up doing is you end up with a lot of adipose tissue. So now you have decreased muscle density and you have increased adipose tissue. So then you're metabolically slower because you don't have the muscle tissue, which is metabolically active. And then if you don't have the fats, then what that does, it can sometimes put your body into a little bit of a fasting mode where it really holds on to everything that's coming in. So this is the standard American diet. This is what most patients end up doing with themselves before they come into treatment with us. So what we do with this in a ketogenic diet is, number one, you're going to start eating enough protein. You're going to get the amount of protein that you need. And what that's going to do is that's going to start helping your body to build back up its muscle mass. Now, this isn't going to make you bulked up like a bodybuilder unless you start lifting weights and doing things like that, but it's going to increase your muscle mass. It's going to make your body have more lean muscle mass tissue, which is going to make you be able to move better and function better. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, when we are the carbohydrate aspect of it, this is not a no-carb diet, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to short your carbohydrates a little bit. So you'll have plenty of fuel for your brain because your brain needs carbohydrates. And one of the problems that you get into when you start eating low carb is that you start cutting out the fuel source for the brain, so the brain doesn't function properly. So we have to make sure that you have enough carbohydrate for brain function, but there's going to be a deficit, and that deficit is going to be made up for by fats. So your body's going to start burning carbohydrate for brain function, and then for bodily function it's going to start burning fat. When you burn fat as fuel, you kick off ketones into the urine, and that's where you get a ketogenic diet. Now, you may read something about ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis is dangerous. That's not what we're going for here. We're going for ketones in the urine. You can do all kinds of research on ketogenic diets. Now, if you research ketogenic diets, you're going to find conflicting information. You're going to find information that's different than what we're giving you with our current program. I want you to follow our current program. Those other diets are great. They have certain functions, but right now I want you to follow the instructions that we're giving you. Okay, so now what's going to happen is your body's going to start burning fat. So your fat levels are going to start decreasing at the same time that your muscle levels are starting to increase. Fat is not metabolically active. Muscle is very metabolically active. So one of the first benefits to this is we're going to reset your metabolism, because you're going to become more metabolically active. Your body's going to have a higher metabolic need. You're going to burn more calories just at rest because you're going to have muscle tissue. Number two, there is an elimination effect. Because we are taking foods out of the diet that typically will irritate the GI tract, by eliminating those foods, you're going to actually soothe the GI tract and give it a chance to relax and rest and become uninflamed. While that's happening, we're going to be giving you supplements to rebuild that gut lining. So we're going to make your digestion get stronger. You're going to make your GI tract start to heal and function a lot better. When we do that, that's another way that we're going to increase your metabolism, because if you remember in our previous discussions, the thyroid gland produces T4, but T4 has to go through the gut to be converted to T3. That's one of the pathways. If your gut is having issues, then you're not going to convert T4 to T3, and you're going to have decreased metabolism. So by improving gut function, you're going to increase conversion of T4 to T3, thereby increasing metabolism again. So it's another effect on metabolism increase. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to help stabilize your blood sugar. And the way it does that, I'll go into a complete detail of video on this when we get into blood sugar with you, and we may have already covered it at this point. But basically your cells, the reason you're having blood sugar metabolism issues is because your cells have downregulated due to excess blood sugar. So now you're in dysregulation because your cells aren't processing sugar properly. So this is going to get your body back used to using less glucose. It's going to make the cells feel comfortable in upregulating those receptor sites, and it's going to make you actually be able to get that blood sugar reestablished. Okay, and then you'll be able to function more efficiently on less glucose. Number four, because we're establishing blood sugar, we are going to reduce inflammation. And that is just huge in the body. Again, inflammation is like a blowtorch on your system. It's tearing up all the tissues. So by reducing that blood sugar, we're going to reduce cholesterol levels, we're going to reduce pain levels, we're going to make the blood-brain barrier more impermeable, so it protects your brain. Your focus is going to improve, your moods are going to improve, your concentration. All these things are going to start to improve as that blood sugar starts to stabilize. All right? And then number five is weight loss. That's an added benefit to this. So these are the reasons that we're doing the ketogenic diet. This is designed to be pretty self-explanatory. You're going to get to a part in that manual, and your health coach should have marked this for you, but in case they didn't, it's going to say, let's maintain. And it's around page 26. I don't know if that's the exact page number, but as soon as you see that let's maintain, stop reading there, okay, because we're not going to be utilizing that. Right now, I just want you to focus on what happens before that. All right, if you have any questions, please let your health coach know.